playing New World, I think there's an interesting story to be unpacked in Aeternum. And being as we talk about life stuff kind of through the lens of gaming a little bit, I wanted to touch on the story of Aeternum and some interesting parallels to spiritual journeys in real life. The premise is that as a new player, you're washed up on the beach, basically, of this mysterious island. A mysterious island that's lost to the world. And as you explore the island, you encounter various sorts of undead creatures. And it turns out that many of those are people who were once just like you or I. They were people who died and then they came back to life because the island always brings people back to life. And it's an infinite cycle of death and regeneration. So you have the lost, and the lost or the withered are people who died because they gave up hope, basically. And if a person dies without hope, then they come back to life kind of like a zombie, a withered shell of the person they once were when they had a soul. Then there's also people who allow evil or hate or corruption into their heart, and when they die, they return as the corrupted. And the corrupted are basically zombies that have red eyes and they're more evil. But unlike the withered, the corrupted zombies have a bit more of a sense of purpose and agency and organization. They come back without a soul, if you will, but they still have a certain mental capacity, a certain will, a certain purpose, even in their undead state. And I thought that was kind of interesting because it's rather true in life that there's a middle way that's a path of peace and a path of, well, the absence of hate and anger and things like that. And if we give in to those tendencies of bitterness, of resentment, of hate, then we lose the part of ourself that matters the most. And in a way, we get turned into zombies. We still have agency. We still have the ability to make some decisions, but we lose the thing that makes our spirit have merit and virtue and value. Maybe that's kind of like the people who they chase wealth, they chase career, they chase so many different things in life, seeking their own glory. And then in the end, it's empty. Because it doesn't matter how much you wind up being better than your neighbor or you have more money than somebody. those things are all empty if there's nothing of spiritual value to back them up. And then there's the plight of the withered, the people who died without hope. And again, we see those people in everyday life all the time. People who give up a sense of faith in life. People who don't believe that life is a beautiful thing. They see everything through the lens of a glass half empty. When you start to look at the world as a curse, after a while, your life becomes a curse. I've seen this a lot in people who just get bitter. After a while, it doesn't matter what the circumstance is, all they can see is what's wrong. All they can think about is what somebody's done to wrong them. And when a person gets to that point of seeing their life and seeing the world through the lens of hopelessness, there really is no bringing them back from that precipice. There is no give them what they want and they'll be happy. They're just lost. So we go through life and we have these experiences trying to kind of make our way in the world. And, you know, we don't live on a magic island where everybody comes back from the dead over and over again, but we do go through a tired routine of repetition. And in a way, every day we live is kind of like a life unto itself. We have the opportunity to determine what sort of a spirit we have, whether we're hateful or angry, whether we're positive and grateful or resentful and defeated. And good things will never come from a spirit of defeat. And good things will never come from a spirit of anger. Both of those things can be perhaps deceptive in a way. It's always tempting to feel sorry for yourself. It's always tempting to want to let anger flow through you. Because in their own self-defeating way, those things can be intoxicating. But if you really want to live, you have to pass this test. You have to learn how to, in a sense, be in the world, but not of it. You fight the fight, but you don't give in to anger and rage. You might sometimes be discouraged, but you never allow your spirit to be surrendered to a sense of hopelessness. And if you can do that, well, then you wind up being able to be defeated many times and perhaps struck down again and again, but you'll be reborn and always rise again so that you can face another day and fight another battle. There is a lot of resilience and adaptability that comes from the peace and the security of surrendering anger and bad attitudes. In a way, we're all on an island. An island where we have to face our own inner demons, and we're doomed to be lost until we can figure out the answer. If we can figure it out, then things start to get better. And maybe we can go home. It's been said that life is itself kind of a purgatory, that we have to pass some sort of a test spiritually before we can go on to the next level, if you will. I do think that that's probably true, in a way. We're doomed to repeat the same cycles. We're doomed to be stuck in the same patterns, to keep striving for something we can't ever attain, until we finally learn to let go and have a sense of faith, a sense of hope, a sense of forgiveness, patience. When we finally learn those things, and we stop striving so hard, that's when the universe opens up to us. And then we're able to have the best experience possible in life. But we have to be willing to surrender first. So in a sense, maybe we could learn a bit of a lesson from that fictional world of Aeternum in New World. Maybe it's an allegory for life. Or maybe it's just a MMO that doesn't have a very strong narrative story. I don't know. I thought it was rather interesting, though. Sometimes you have to understand, if you want to enjoy the journey, that it's not about the destination. It's just about having a big open world to explore, and a path that's stretching out in front of you, and the opportunity to be present in it. And even if it's not perfect, there's not really any reason why it can't be enough. Good luck in your journey. Till next time. Thank you for watching.